What's up, Kabroda crew? Welcome in. Thanks for joining the live stream today. Back at it for another day of checking out the market, seeing what's going on. Looks like we're getting a little bit of a pump up into, kind of into the last little bit here, last hour or so. We'll see how the rest of the day kind of charts out. We'll kind of check out the Kabroda system, see what it says, see where we're at. But I gotta tell you, the system is saying it's looking a little bearish, so we'll have to check that out, see what's going on. The paper trade yesterday did play out, ran all the way down past where we had kind of, targeted there. So pretty good little trade there. Definitely a risky trade, but in terms of just something for fun, definitely a great little call there. Like I said, though, yesterday the system was saying, it was a more sideways chop market. Even though it had some potential to go down, it was more than likely going to just kind of chop sideways. So did end up breaking down, though. Kind of broke that probability there and continued down. Made our trade, so nice there for, like I said, the paper trade. And then we kind of bounced back up and ran sideways more or less throughout the night. So yeah, not a whole lot, I guess, kind of going on coming into this morning, but definitely interesting there. Getting back near that 60,000 level that everybody's been talking about, so we'll have to see what happens here as we kind of get nearer to that level, and we'll see what the battle box says as we kind of jump into it. See here. Looks like we got a couple people in the chat. Welcome in Cherry, welcome in Kathleen. We got a couple people. Dawson just joined. So thanks y'all for joining. Thanks for coming in. It should be a good little time here, hanging out and checking out the charts, seeing what's going on. Kind of give people a second, I guess, to get in here. Got some coffee today. A little bit of cold brew. Put a little vanilla from the Virgin Islands in it. Had some people I know went to the Virgin Islands, so they came back and they brought us some vanilla. Just a little bit. But pretty good stuff. It's like homemade by somebody over there. They bottle it and stuff, and so we got some vanilla to have in our coffee. It's pretty good. It's like, if you don't know how to make vanilla extract, you use like some kind of hard liquor, and then you just like put vanilla beans in it basically and leave it for so long. And she used rum in hers, so it kind of gives it a little different flavor than I guess you'd normally get at like the store or something like that. So kind of interesting, kind of cool, I guess. Definitely adds a little bit more flavor to the coffee. Adds a little nice little flavor to our cold brew there. I don't know how it affects hot coffee. I don't think we've tried that one yet. Pretty nice, pretty good coffee here. Pretty interesting how we're kind of running up here. We'll have to check it out. Probably give about 5 minutes for people to get in. So we'll kind of go get ready, jump into stuff. We got our stuff on here. We'll have to go get the levels though from Kabroda.com, see what's going on, see what we can get into today. Looks like we're in a little bit of a downwards trend here. Kind of broke out of it, I guess, this morning to the upside, but you can see we got a floor there and we kind of got a downwards trends there, kind of breaking out of it. I guess you could have said, we retested it right there. Something like that. Kind of broke out, retested it, and now we're bouncing off it, maybe. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see as we're jumping into it. But the Moving averages kind of curling to the upside, so we're showing a little bit of a break off to the top side. Definitely a possibility we could run here to the upside, but I don't know. There's always that possibility, I guess. So, yeah, we'll jump into it, throw our levels on here, see what's what, see what we can get into, and see what the market's saying for today. So head on over to Kabroda.com here. Today we're in a bearish setup, 5 out of 5. Looks like we're building for that setup still. We got the jewel kind of firing along with the bearish setup there, and then EMAS is approved. So got a couple different things going for you. You got your different breakdown lines right there. We're going to go ahead and throw those on our chart though, so we don't need to worry about what the levels say there. Head back here, we'll open up our indicator here, and we'll open up this indicator and throw it on there. All right, there's the trade for today. Pretty interesting how this is kind of set up. You got a pretty wide 30-minute range here. You got your top, your bottom. Breakout, breakdown there. Pretty crazy spread here in terms of the 30-minute range. I mean, it's pretty wide there, which is pretty interesting. I mean, typically you'll see the 30-minute range pretty tight, and it's a lot closer to one of the sides, you know, depending on which way we're gonna go. But you know, it's pretty wide. Had a pretty decent little up move today during the 30-minute session that we kind of, you know, watched for that 30-minute range. So I don't know. It's interesting, you know, how wide that is. Kind of coming back up to where we were yesterday, I guess. We'll see what happens here. But it does look like we're trying to get that breakout to the top side. Maybe just volatility in the 830 candle. I don't know. We'll have to see. We still got about 6 minutes left or so in that candle before we see the predator lines close. So you can see they're kind of setting up right now. If you don't know what the predator lines are, essentially it's just the the high and the low of the 830 to 845 candle on the 15. We just mark them out. Typically what we've seen is that when you break through either side of the predator lines, you'll continue that side. So if you break to the downside of the 830 to 845 candle, then afterwards, if you break to either side, then you'll typically see continuation throughout the day. I mean, obviously none of what we kind of say is like foolproof. It's all part of kind of our system. So like, you know, that might be there, and then we have I don't know, like the other things that we look for is, I guess, like the breakout of the breakout line. So if you get a breakout and close above this, and then you get a breakout and close above your predator line, then it'd be like, okay, that's like a lot better setup. But yeah, just different a couple different things that we kind of look at. Just kind of going into it. So that's why I say, you know, that's one of the things we look at, but it's not like everything. It's not necessarily something you could just, you know, take just because it happened. There's not really very much of that in trading. Not a whole lot of just take it if it does this one thing, then you can be a millionaire. If that was true, we'd all be millionaires, right? But yeah, looking like we're kind of breaking up. Pretty crazy little candle here. A lot of volatility coming in. I got about 1.28k volume, so pretty crazy. Had about 2.18 this morning during that 7:30 candle that I was talking about. So kind of interesting. A lot of volume coming in here for the upside. A lot of people trying to buy off the 60,000 level. A lot of people thinking this is the bottom. Like we were saying, though, we are not 100% on that bottom. We're thinking there's a possibility we could break through it. If we do break through it, we're definitely going to go down to that 45,000 level, or around there at least, 50,000, 45,000, somewhere like that. Maybe even a little lower, around 42,000. It's kind of the end of the wave 5. We were kind of looking at that yesterday. It will kind of take a quick glance at it again today, but definitely looking like possibility of breaking down there. So we kind of got our levels though set up. We got our stuff ready to go. We're waiting for that predator candle to kind of close in another 3 minutes or so. But while that's happening, we might as well check out the daily brief for today. And like I said before, this is our daily brief here. It's going to be coming out possibly in a sort of publication. We're not sure how exactly that's going to look yet, but it's going to be some sort of publication that will be paid, but you'll be able to kind of get a little breakdown in the market every single day. We're still, working on it, and we're still looking for, I don't know, stuff you guys would like to see, or just, maybe some improvements or things like that. Yeah, we'd love to hear it. So if you guys are interested in, just letting us know, that way we can kind of alter it, maybe make it a little nicer, a little better for when it does end up coming out. But we're thinking about, doing the publication and then having some sort of smaller version on the website for free. It wouldn't necessarily have all the levels and stuff. It'd probably more just be a little bit kind of a taste of what you actually get with the paid version. So anyways, let's jump into it and see what it says. Now, this is not the actual publication. The publication's a little better written. This is going to be more kind of back ends, more robotic sounding, more direct. It's going to give a lot more, just plain numbers and not as much. It's, I guess, to put it in terms, it's kind of more talking to you like you're a full-on trader rather than just like trying to explain it to you a little bit and help you out kind of understanding it, which, it's good for, it's good if you know what it's kind of talking about, but it kind of makes it confusing if you don't. So we'll kind of run through it. I'll explain a little bit of it and we'll see what happens. So we're in the wave 4 bounce, which is still alive, but has covered only 13.7% of the structural range from the 60,055 wave 3 low towards the 80,632.72 ceiling. Price is barely off the floor of a counter wave inside a multi-month bear sequence. The maximum wall at 60,225 with a heat score of 29.1. Heat score is just our internal kind of heat map that we have. We've actually built it our own. Has a couple different things that kind of go into it, but whenever you see the heat score, that's what it's referencing. And then this is a pretty decent heat score, so essentially it's saying that it has pretty decent possibility that we're going to break down to this level 60,025. That sits directly below the current price action at the gravitational drain, and a weekly close below that 60,055 collapses the bounce entirely and opens the bear wave 5 towards 42 to 45,000. So like I was saying, until BTC posts a daily close above that 63,555, which is backed by the coherent multi-timeframe bullish energy, not today's 1 out of 5 bullish vote. Every rally is structural noise inside the counter wave. So basically, we're looking like we're gonna go down. It's saying there's until we get a close above that 63,555, then we're probably not going to be any kind of bullish. And obviously that's not really coming, or not very likely to come today, I should say. Anything can happen during the day, but it's not very likely today just because the bullish indicators that we kind of look at for price going up. Same thing for the bearish going down. Obviously we have more bears today. That's what we were just looking at. 5 out of 5 of our main things that we look at for what what's the overall lean of the market, I guess, for the day. it's definitely looking more bearish. Whereas if it was bullish, we might have a possibility of doing that, but the bullish is pretty low today. So today's energy, we got a multi-timeframe energy, and that's unrefined bearish. 4-hour and 1-hour trends directions both point down. So just one quick thing is that the 1-hour actually has flipped to be pointing down. So yesterday we were kind of saying, the 1-hour and the 4-hour are conflicting. We were seeing the 1-hour trying to go up, whereas the 4-hour and weekly and the daily, I believe, were all trying to go to the downside. So now the 1-hour is flipped back down again. So we're looking for more downwards action here. The 50 minutes in a sweet zone, bear with a strong cinematic fuel, and the SSS structural lean is short at a 0.75 within the 75% confidence. The sole friction point is 1-hour positive momentum against the 4-hour negative read. It's a pullback dynamic with inact bearish structure, not a trend conflict. The 15-minute ribbon is primed with no exit warning active. So we're ready to go to the downside. Obviously, right now, if we go check out price action, it is actually going to the upside. We got a nice little bear candle, or nice little bull candle here on the 15-minute after kind of during that 8:30 to 8:45 candle. Typically, if you've been hanging around here for a while, you'll see pretty decent amount of volatility here on this 8:30 candle. Kind of hard to tell which way it's going to go. It's just the futures market for the New York session opens. Oh, excuse me. At that time, so that's why you see the volatility kind of spike. People people get on their computers for the day. People are checking out the markets. They're seeing, oh, we're down near that 60,000, so they're buying up. Even bots turn on at that point and buy. So overall, you see volatility, whether either way. It's something that's kind of hard to kind of trade with it. Even though there is, volatility and movement there, it's hard to, trade. Is it going to go up or down? It's just one of those events you just got to know are going to be there, and you got to watch out for them. Especially if you're, thinking, okay, it's going to go down today, and you're trying to take a down trade. You don't want to be in the way of that trade. Right now, we're kind of running into that 15,200, so we'll see what happens here. Like I said, our system is calling down today, but that doesn't mean it can't go up. It just means that if we start to break down here and we get below this purple line, then we're pretty likely to continue down. But obviously, you could break up and continue up today. It's not a 100% thing. It's just if the conditions are met. Basically, if you get down below that, then that would be the trade. Technically, you could, say, okay, if we get a close above the upward side here, we could take a trade to the upside. That could be true too, but, with how we've been kind of reading our stuff, with our daily brief we've been reading, it's essentially saying that there's pretty low likelihood of us going to the upside. So you could take it. It's just one of those, it's low likelihood that it's going to continue to the upside. So, you're taking it, you just don't have a lot of wind at your back, I guess to say. You're more likely, you're kind of just fighting trend. Even though the market on the 15-minute kind of looks like it's going to go up, it doesn't necessarily mean that it is going to in fact go up. So we'll see what happens here as we kind of dive a little more deeper into it, see where this candle kind of goes. We got to see a little bit more of a rejection here if we want to see it going down. Right now it's kind of sitting pretty good here, but we still got about 9 minutes left before this candle closes and see what happens. So jump back into our daily brief here. The weekly bullish divergence has been persistent across 6 consecutive session snapshots. This is a live macro counter signal. The T1 is the priority target. Do not commit a runner on this setup. So essentially today it's calling a high probability or higher probability short. So higher being, it's higher than the long. The bearish energy is clean across 4 of 5 time frames with strong cinematic fuel on 50-minute and unified trend direction on the 4 and the 1 hour. The maximum wall at 60,025 sits directly below as a gravitational anchor, pulling price down towards that short target one at 60,157. The SSE structural lean at negative 0.75 in the sweet zone. Bear harmonic state confirmed primary tide is intact. The short side delivers a clear measure move to T1 with no major wall between breakdown trigger and first target. So essentially, if we get that breakdown close below the breakdown level, then we're probably going to go to the target one. That's pretty high probability there. Lower probability, we have the long going, so the long path carries the full unobstructed airspace through all three targets to that T3 at 64,233, structurally the cleanest runway in the session. This becomes valid only on a confirmed breakout above that 61,922 with a 1 hour momentum flipping positive and 4 hour negative read resolving. Do not anticipate, wait for the trigger. So right now, you could say we have met one of those conditions. We did get a break above the breakout trigger at that 61,922. So we got that close above there, so that is a good thing for the long. However, we still have the 1 hour and the 4 hour looking bearish. So in terms of is the setup ready, I would say no. You do have the 15-minute ready to go, but the 1 and the 4 hour are not going to be at your back. Kind of like I was just saying, the wind is not at your back on the upper side right now, even though it is kind of setting up here on the 15. So there's your short trade there. You got your entry stop target that we're looking at. Again, we're just here for not financial advice. We're not here for financial advice. We're just here for educational purposes. Yeah, sorry. So yeah, we got our entry, our stop, and our target. All educational. We're looking at this is kind of where we'd be looking at with our system. So we're trying to teach y'all how to use our system. That is, yeah, that's the trade if you're trading our exact system. Again, yeah, just for educational purposes only. You'll see that all over our site. We stand down if price reclaims at 61,500 on a 15-minute close after breaking down. The short thesis structurally compromised. The pullback dynamic has reversed. 15-minute jewel fires an exit warning before price reaches 60,400. Fuel is exhausted before T1 and measure move is failing. And then the other side. So we talked about the long. Basically, you have a move all the way to T3 at that 64,233. That's just because there's no real resistance above us, so we're really just got kind of full range to the upside. No big levels kind of up here, so all the way up to that 64,233, you just have full range to run up there. Pretty big target there, but it's there. Yeah, that's kind of the trade. So we'll go ahead and throw our trade here on the chart. So this is what we're looking at here for the short. If we do end up breaking down, so like I said, we'll need to come back into our zone here and then continue all the way down, break down below our entry there, get us in, and then continue down. Looking for target one as the main spot. You can see there's some resistance here around that 60,000 to 59,954. Basically, we want to pull off our stuff right before that. If you did take something like that, you'd be looking at probably pretty close to a 1-to-1. Yep, 1-to-1. So not too bad, not anything crazy, but not too bad in terms of how it's looking. It'd be all right. It's a decent little, put some money in your pocket. You're trading 500 or whatever it is to make 500. So honestly, that's not too bad of a trade. Obviously, if you come back up, you could lose 500. So, that's kind of the risk you take trading. But we'll throw our paper trade for the live on there, just so you can see it. Obviously, we have not gotten in yet. We need that close below this level after the 845 candle. well, yeah, after the 8:45 candle. We're working on making it a little more, little better at reading it. So maybe you could, say, okay, we'll take it on the 8:45 candle and get out. But you haven't really gotten that close either way, since the morning kind of happened. I mean, I guess you kind of got the close here, but we typically trade after 8, no matter what. So 8 was kind of around here. So since then, we've kind of just pumped up. Haven't really seen that downside kind of playing out. So this is what we're looking at. This is what's on here. We'll see what happens as we kind of jump into, as we kind of like run through the rest of the day, as it kind of starts to break down, or possibly break down. Could also break off to the upside. So we'll see what happens. Like I said, see where we end up going. Yeah. Kind of. I said we'd show the weekly, kind of show the breakdown that we were talking about, while we're calling that 60,000 level. I'm actually gonna leave these on here this time. So we have our Elliott waves here, and we have our target here. This is how you draw your target. So you take the first Elliott wave and then draw it off the fourth one, and that was not a good target. Yeah, so that was pretty exact there. We got our target around, it's always going to be around that 50,000 level. Obviously, our system is drawing a little more exact. It's also using the spark chart, whereas I'm using the perpetual contract chart. So the spot chart is kind of better to use for longer term time frames like this, especially when you're doing longer term TA and stuff like that. So yeah, we're using the quick, we're using the perpetual chart here. So essentially what you do though is you're going to draw, grab your Elliott wave thing over here, and then you're going to draw the different highs and lows, and you basically will get 5 typically in each move. So we get 5 here once you hit that 5th wave, and then you'll be flipping and you'll go bear or bullish. Typically, not always, but typically you'll go bullish, and you'll start to see price action kind of reclaim. We'll have another 5 waves, and then we'll flip and go bearish. That's just how the market plays out. But whenever you see the moves kind of happen, you can grab the trade from the top to the bottom where target one, or where the first wave kind of is, and then you can use that off of wave 4 to find the target. That's where we get that 60, or that's where we get that 50,000 level. Yeah, like I said though, you will have to be smart about how you put these on here. Obviously, you could be like, oh well, there was a high here, so you kind of had wave 1, and then it came up and then came down. That's not really true. So essentially what's got to happen is you got to have price action come down, kind of make a lower low, and for one, just to have the lower low start, to start the like reversal or whatever you want to call it. I guess, yeah, technically it's a reversal at this point because we're in a long up until this point. So once we break below the previous high, or previous low, which is right here, because you made a higher high, and then you came down, made a lower high there, or lower low there, and then you came up, or higher low, I guess. You made a higher low there. Then you came up and made a higher high above this high. So technically this is, that low. Then we came and broke that low there. So that would be the start of the downtrend there. So this would be our first lower low, and we came back up, made a higher low, or higher high, or oh my gosh, we made a lower low, then we made a lower high, and then we come down and make an even lower low than that. So that confirms that wave 2 and sets it up. So then we come up and we make a higher low, or lower high, man, getting all these confused, lower high there. And then once we come down and we break down below this target 3, that's where we'd say wave 5 is confirmed, and you also confirmed the higher low or lower high at wave 4. So we really need it to break the 60,000 level if we want to see the wave 5 kind of play out, and we want to see that confirmation there. We are right on the weekly 200, so there is going to be some resistance here, along with, you know, 60,000 is a big level that people are looking at. It's just, you know, big line in the sand kind of thing. It's a big, I don't know, psychological level, I guess, that people are looking at. You know, people are worried about that level. People think about that level all the time. So it's a level that when we get to it, you see resistance just because it's big fat round number. It's got history. So I mean, 60,000 was kind of the top a while ago. There's just multiple different things. They all kind of go together to make it a pretty decent little support or resistance, I guess, depending on which side you're on. But support right now, level under us. So we really need to break that level. And if we do get the break and close below, then that'll confirm the wave 5 and continuation down. We did actually come down and break below this level. So you could say, you know, if you're a little more aggressive, we are actually in that breakdown already. You know, wave 4 top is confirmed and we're continuing down. But we would like to see the close below to actually confirm that, especially on the weekly. But yeah, we did get the breakdown there. So it should continue down. Not going to say it's going to. You know, the markets can kind of do whatever they want, and we'll see what happens. Could be enough people, you know, kind of wanting this 60,000 to be the bottom that it just ends up being the bottom. But we're definitely thinking more than likely we're going to continue down and get a close below there. Here, maybe this week, maybe next week. I don't know. Telling time like that is kind of hard. Especially for TA, most of the time you're not gonna make calls like that. You're just gonna say, you know, we're more than likely gonna go to this level. You can really, what you're doing is you're trading probability, or you're using different indicators on the market to figure out probability. So you're just gonna have to kind of wait and see how the probabilities kind of play out, you know, because just because you have a 90% chance of something happening doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. There's not really any 100% guarantees here in trading. So we're thinking, yeah, it's going to go down. The probability is pretty high that we do end up continuing down. It'll be even higher if we get to close below the level that we've been talking about at that 60,055 level. If we get that close below there, especially on the weekly, then we'll definitely be looking for the downside. The probability goes way up for that 50,000 to, you know, 45,000 level. So we definitely should see that kind of coming in. Yeah, that's kind of the outlook today, though. So we'll see again what happens, you know, as we kind of go throughout the day. Higher probability trade is to the downside today. That's the trade our system is calling. Will we get that? I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll see what happens today. Haven't gotten it yet, but you know, we got to wait a little bit to see if we get that breakdown. Could be, you know, a little later today. Could be the next, I don't know, 10 minutes. I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, it's just the markets. You got to just kind of let it play and see what happens. So if we do get to break down below there, we'll be jumping on our paper trade. If we get a breakdown below here, jump on our paper trade and trade it down to target 1. But like I said, we don't know what's going to happen, so we'll see what the probability ends up happening. Yeah, thanks for joining though. That was about it for today's live stream. We'll be back here tomorrow, kind of checking out the markets again, seeing what's going on. It's nice to see so many people here in the live stream checking us out, seeing what Kabroda is all about. Like I said, that publication too will be coming out sometime in the future, probably somewhat near future. Maybe, you know, like could definitely be sooner, but like maybe more towards like Q4 this year. Yeah, probably more towards Q3, Q4 of this year. So it'll be a little bit, but we're definitely looking at getting that thing out there. Like I said, if it shows up early, we'll let you all know. Still working on the back end of getting everything kind of set up and ready for that to kind of come out. And we're letting the system kind of run audits on itself too, so we want to kind of see how it performs, kind of going through the month, or going through the month, and kind of just getting some data behind it, so it can kind of audit, and we can fix some kinks in the system. But it's running pretty good right now, so we'll just continue to see what happens with it. But again, jump into this thing if we get that breakdown below the entry, or below our breakdown line on the entry, and then we'll take it down to T1. So thanks for joining. We'll catch y'all tomorrow, 8:30 a.m. CST. So whatever that is for y'all's time zone. CST is like Texas area. It's kind of Central America. It's not Central America, I guess. Central North America. So you can change that time to whatever it is for your time zone. But thank y'all for joining today, and we'll catch y'all tomorrow. Happy trading to y'all. See you then.